Welcome back, everybody, to the Oz Bodybuilding Podcast. I'm here joined with Marlette, our Queensland overall bikini champion, and hopefully soon to be pro.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hello.
So first up, my first question, kind of just want to take things all the way back till we get to kind of where we are now. And I just want to know what kind of got you into bodybuilding.
Okay, so I've always sort of been like into health and fitness as a young age. Like in primary school, I did like all sports, like anything that was like something athletic, I was just doing it. Even if I wasn't good at it, I would just do it.
There you go.
Yeah. And then fast forward to university. Well, actually, I was 14 when I hit a gym.
Yep.
Walked in, was like, yep, cool, I'm going to start lifting weights. That gym actually turned me down. They were like, once I figured out that I was 14, they were like, you're not allowed to train here without a guardian. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we just don't allow it. And I was like, oh,
that's so weird. I've never heard of that.
Right. So, I mean, that was what, so many years ago. Like, I'm a bit old. Okay. We're not going to find out exactly how old I am, but yeah, so that kind of like put a little bit of a slow down on my gains, I guess.
Yeah.
But they would allow me to do like group fitness classes that didn't involve weights. So I was doing like boxing and stuff like that. And then fast forward to uni, that obviously took up most of my life. So I was only training intermittently there, here and there. I actually went and supported a friend at her bodybuilding competition, and immediately it was love at first sight. Like just backstage, seeing everyone, seeing her pumping up. Like I had no idea what was going on, and then seeing her on stage and doing all these poses, and just I was like, I want to do that. Yeah, that's amazing. And then it kind of just hit off from there. And then
cool. What was it, an IFBB show or ICN?
No, it was actually ICN. Yeah, and this is when I was living in New South Wales. So it was a New South Wales show. Yeah, I think I can't even remember how old I was. Maybe like if I was in uni, I would have been older than 18. But yeah anyway, yeah, I was.
No, that's really cool. That's cool that you kind of were wanting to get into the gym, but kind of didn't know about that bodybuilding, had that friend, just went along, and then just kind of was like you said, love at first sight. And was just like, what is this? I must do it. I must give it a go. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was so crazy. I'm like, I immediately fell in love, and I was like, wow, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it. And then, I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with your first competition, because I remember I first found out about you in your 2020 IFBB show. So was that your first ever comp, or did you do an ICN show?
No, so I started off with ICN. So I knew straight away I always wanted to do IFBB. Always. It was always my goal, but I never felt ready. I never felt big enough. To me, I looked at the athletes that compete with IFBB, and I look at them and I just think they are just top-notch athletes.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I'm still very like mature. Not mature enough. I'm like, I need more muscle. That takes time to grow. Like I need to work really hard. It was always my goal. So I guess you could say, just like normally what a lot of people do is they used ICN as sort of like a stepping stone experience and that sort of thing. So that's sort of what I did.
Yeah.
And I actually did really well. So like my first show with ICN, I won. I like came first in like first timers.
That's awesome.
I almost missed out on my pro card twice. So given that I had such good success and how passionate I was and how it was easy for me to just be able to diet to extremes, I was like, okay, cool. This is my niche. I'm going full send. And then go from there. And so that's how it happened. Yeah.
That's cool. So it kind of like gave you that confidence booster, because I know you mean I know a couple of friends and athletes and that who do ICN because they don't feel big enough, or they don't feel like they're ready, because we kind of see, we know IFBB gets you to Olympia, so it's just kind of like, oh well, maybe I should do something a bit smaller before transitioning. And it's cool to kind of see how winning, even though you just missed your pro card, it still kind of gave you, I guess, maybe that boost of confidence to kind of go, all right, next season we're going to IFBB. And
I just wanted to I wanted to level up. I was like, I want to be better than this. I want to be a top athlete. I want to be IFBB. I want someone to look at me and go, whoa, like, look at her. Yeah. And I just felt like I never had that with ICN personally. That's just my personal experience. So yeah. And then I was like, okay, cool. When I felt ready enough, like I felt like matured in the gym. Like it's something that it's a stepping stone.
Definitely.
Everyone, like you can't just walk in a gym and go, I know what I'm doing. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and I was self-training. So I put on between my first and second year of competing with ICN, I did season A in both of those years. Yeah. I trained myself.
And dieted?
No, not dieted. I did have a coach for dieting, but I did my own training programs and everything, and just self-taught, my own research, learning muscle groups, and obviously because I'm a paramedic, I was obviously like learned anatomy, physiology, so I had that knowledge as well. But learning what exercises work what muscle, and then trying to create a bikini body, and I'm like, okay. And so I would teach myself, and I'd research, write myself programs and stuff like this. And in that year, obviously Natty gains, and then when you're not when you haven't been training for a while, your body just like goes, what's this? And then hypertrophy. I literally put on like 4 kilos of muscle.
That's so good.
Literally, like I'd have to try and find that photo. I actually have on my Instagram. It's so far down of my glute gains in like this year, and like my taper and everything. And I was so proud because I did that. Like no coach.
No one helped you. Yeah.
Nah, it was just me. So,
that's awesome.
And then, it was awesome.
That's something that I've always, looking back, been disappointed in myself, because like I was always so fearful of the gym and kind of like nervous and, was scared. So like I never really put in that kind, I feel like I missed that opportunity of that first year of gains. And so, fluffing around and, kind of just doing bits and pieces and stuff. And then it wasn't until like a year or two later, then I started going with a friend of mine from school. And, that's how I got into bodybuilding. And then, he was already like, bigger than me because he'd been like 3 years ahead, but he had that, first year with that extra muscles kind of made. And I'm like, fuck, I missed it. No. So I'm like kind of like trying to catch up, but it's like a regret of mine, but at the same time, it's all a learning curve. It's all a learning experience. But no, that's really cool. I'll have to try and find that picture. I'd love to see that.
I'll after we finish, I'll like scroll down. It's so far away and send it to you so you can see. And just, it's pretty awesome. Like I still like, I can visually remember it, and it's very, very touchy to me. Yeah.
Because it's rewarding because like you did it yourself, you didn't have anyone else to help. And you kind of like, from, especially looking back where you are now, like, how important it is to have a coach and how someone, guiding you in that manner can help you. But to go, wow, I made that much gains by myself. It's definitely a rewarding thing.
Yeah. Like I still remember the day where I really wanted to use the leg press in this gym, and the leg press was right in the middle of the gym. And I felt so intimidated. I was like, I really want to use this leg press because I know the benefits of it, but I don't want to stuff up in front of everybody and everyone looks at me and goes, oh my God, she has no idea what she's doing, and like laugh at me or like make a fool of myself. I was just so embarrassed. I remember I was quite close to a PT there, and I just said to him, hey, like this is really awkward and random, but do you mind if you pretend to show me how to use the leg press and pretend we're doing a PT session just so I can use it, and then like so I can build up confidence? And he was like, oh my gosh, of course. And then it was then that I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is good. I can do this without anyone. And it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's great. So when did you kind of meet Steph? So I'm assuming that means did you have Steph during ICN, or you had a different coach and then?
No, different coach. So when I lived in New South Wales, so I had this coach called Raxo, and he actually owns Knockout Nutrition, now multiple stores. Back then he just worked there as a nutritionist. He didn't even own the store, but then he bought it out.
That's awesome.
And now he's just doing amazing. I'm so proud of him. So Raxo was my coach for ICN. It wasn't until when I felt like I ended up moving to Queensland, and then I was like, I want a local coach because I was flying back to Sydney to do check-ins and stuff. It was just chaos. And it was just expensive and everything. So I was like, okay, Competing on its own is already expensive, plus adding flights. So I ended up just meeting and bumping into my coach at the time, Denver Stein. So I don't know if you know Denver, but he's like, I like to call him a dinosaur in the fitness industry because everyone knows who Denver Stein is. He's more of WBFF clientele, more ICN, but definitely more WBFF. And he used to compete in other shows as well. So he did my first prep for IFBB, and I reached out to Steph for posing for them. So that's
that's how you met her.
So I met her through posing, and then we just like sort of hit it off, and I was like, wow, this chick's so awesome, and I kind of like really idolized her because I knew who she was, and I'm like, she's like really big in IFBB, and at this time she hadn't gotten her pro card.
She hadn't got the pro card. Okay,
no, so she was an amateur, and so I just idolized her and just thought she was so beautiful and like so knowledgeable, and you can tell she's confident, she knows her things, but she's not cocky about it, and that's what I love.
There's a humbleness to it.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's how it started. And then literally like the rest is history. We went for a really nice beach walk. We were like, she's like, what are you doing? Do you want to go for a walk? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to go for a walk. I'd love to get to know you. And then literally, boom, like the rest is history. It was just that one random sunset beach walk that we did together, and then literally best friends, inseparable since.
That's awesome. That's really good.
Right.
It's kind of finding that person, it can happen unexpectedly, and you just
unexpectedly
like that. And, then like you said, the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, then I'm interested because, I find it interesting, that client coach relationship. And, some people have, they think it should be really strict. Some people find it, easier if there's a bit more of a personal level to it. So like you're saying, kind of being best friends, how do you think that it's been more beneficial, or compared to if you were, I guess, when you compare it to like, let's say Denver, when you said it was more like a client and coach relationship?
I know what you mean. So I don't know. I'm a very honest person. So I feel as though my relationships with my previous coaches have always been obviously of a professional level, but always of like really good friends.
Yeah.
And I just trusted them. So, and I always knew that I wanted to, I knew that I had Steph as a bestie, as a sister. But I also knew, okay, no, prep Steph, like coach Steph, what she says, and our WhatsApp and chat is purely prep. So we're pretty good at like separating
the two. Okay.
Yeah. But then I think what is super beneficial with Steph is the fact that she's female. My other two coaches were male. So I think that's probably one thing that helps to maybe push the edge a little bit more of that, breaking that barrier, because obviously like you can talk about the girly things that you don't necessarily feel too comfortable talking to. But then again, like I told you, I'm an honest person. So I would tell Denver, I'd be like, yo, like this is the deal. And he'll be like, okay. And he'll be like,
work with it. Yeah.
And he's so chill as well. So it kind of just worked really well. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's really interesting. That's cool. I think it's important. We always talk about, you see athletes jumping from coach to coach, or, staying with one coach for a while and changing up. I think it's important to, if you find that right coach, and especially it's good when you find it early on, like you kind of have, and be able to, continually progress with her. Because you can even see, like, I was just looking back prior to this, and I was looking at your 2020 and 21, and there was that growth there. And then when looking at the state show when I was there, like, yo, your conditioning, let alone on a whole nother level from 2021. That's why, like I said, like you're my front runner for that pro card. Like I just see it compared to.
Thank you so much.
It's just it's amazing, and it's good that you have that coach, let alone best friend, to support, and who has also kind of been there, done that.
Yeah, totally. She's always told me. She's like, you're going to do great things with IFBB. She's always believed in me, always told me. Even though she wasn't my coach, she always told me. And she always used to be like, you need better conditioning, Marlette. Once you hit that conditioning, game over. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then just one day I had a conversation with a friend, and she's like, you will do great things. Like, have you thought about like like, coach, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. And then it kind of just stuck with me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to Steph. I'm going to see what she says. And she literally was like, are you kidding me? I've wanted to do this for so long.
Since the beginning.
Literally. She's like, I wanted to be a coach from day dot. Like, I wouldn't even think to say no. And then, yeah, that was it. Boom. And then it just created this dynamic duo. And it's just, I don't know. I feel so empowered with her. She's just so supportive, and like prep, outside of prep, like, I don't know, she's amazing. Like, truly as a person, as an individual, but even as a coach, like, and I'm not trying to be biased because she's my bestie, but because I genuinely mean it. Like, and yeah,
no, shout out to her. I'm gonna put her in the link down below too. So
yeah, for sure. So everyone knows who she is. Yeah.
So 2 questions from that then. Question 1 is, so because in 2021 you took out your open class, hey, and
novice, yeah.
So you
20.
didn't.
Yeah, 20 it was.
Yeah, and then 2021, did you do open and you came first?
No, I didn't. 2021, I believe. I didn't even think I got to compete because of COVID. I prepped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, okay. So you did have that 2 year. Okay.
I did have 2 years off. Yeah. Which was like the biggest blessing in disguise, evidently. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that makes a bit more sense then.
Yeah, because I was prepping for the next season, and then I was, I think, 6 weeks out or 4 weeks out, and the show got cancelled.
Yeah. Okay. So the plan from do you think when you were prepping for that, do you feel like outside of maybe, the muscle maturity that you've gained, do you still think that you were on the similar track to where you kind of came in with this showing? Do you think you were heading that right direction with conditioning, or do you think maybe that extra time? Because I've been listening to a different couple of podcasts, and it's been interesting hearing what people's thoughts are to do with sometimes the more muscle maturity and density that you have, the better conditioning you can actually get into. Because I understand, like, it's good the more your body gets in conditioning, the better it gets, but also the level of conditioning can play on how much actual density of muscle you have. So do you think you are on the same track, or do you think that extra year of, if you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, totally. In the moment, we knew that show that I was getting ready that got cancelled, we knew, wow, best package to date, literally. So hyped, so ready. Everyone was like, wow, dark horse, like Marlette's actually prepping. Wow, like, wow, we're seeing her physique, and then it got cancelled. So yes, we were on par, but then COVID happened, it all got cancelled. I had time to grow, reverse, build, and then obviously mature, and then now bring in and cutting back and seeing my physique. Now I'm like, biggest blessing in disguise. Absolutely. And now I'm like, I look back at that physique and I think that was nothing.
That was nothing compared to that.
That was nothing. Yeah.
That's good. It's good when you can see in yourself too that progression. I feel like we as bodybuilders sometimes get really hard on ourselves, and we find it hard to really appreciate. And something that I've started to do more is take more photos. It's something that I've always been reluctant on, but I think the more you take photos, even if you don't like it at the moment, even 6 months, you're grateful because you're like looking now and then you're looking back at the picture and it's just like, fuck, look at that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I got off stage, when I got off stage, I set myself as my wallpaper.
Yeah.
I saw myself every day. I put myself next to Jen Dory, cut our heads off. I put my body next to hers, and I stared at that every day.
So that motivation.
Yeah, every day. And I'm like, that's my physique. That's her physique. I can get to that level. I can do it. So every day I would stare at that. And then because you are your own battle, you know what I mean? Like, anyone on stage, like, you just bring your best. It's a selfish sport. It's an individualized sport. Like, you focus on you. You got to beat you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what's the biggest thing. I think sometimes we get too concerned about what other people are bringing, and in return, we then kind of reduce kind of what the package we could have brought, where, if you are doing you versus you, okay, I beat my last, I'm bringing the best version of me. So then it is really just what the judges want. You can't, it's kind of making sure you leaving that no stone unturned type thing.
Oh, absolutely. I kept telling everyone I'm getting blood out of a stone. Like, this prep, absolutely. And I've literally just been this horse with its covers and I've been
Going
full
full
send,
throttle.
nothing. Like no one's in my way, nothing, no excuse. I don't care that I'm a shift worker. I don't care that I do night shift and that I have no sleep. Nothing was getting in my way of this ever.
It's exciting.
So,
This is the
yeah,
attitude and mindset.
yeah, literally.
Good.
Like, yeah, it's like I'll show you because I can.
Yeah.
But I've ever since I got off stage from Queensland,
Yeah.
I set my wallpaper, put my name on it.
Yes. Speak it into existence.
Every day.
Yes.
It's me. I'm getting my pro
That's
card.
it.
So yeah.
Exciting. So my biggest question that I've always been fascinated about, and I thought this is a great time to ask you, with like the raw iron, how you kind of do that HIIT style training, and you do the
CrossFit, yeah.
snatch fit, yeah, so CrossFit. I've always been puzzled by that because I'm always like, I get, that keeping, having the calorie deficit, wanting to, do it. Some people do more cardio, some people do, Stairmaster or do HIIT styles, but your choice of CrossFit and with the weightlifting, and there's some weeks where I've seen you, 4 weeks out and you're still doing heavy weights for a few reps and stuff, even though it's 3 or 4 exercises. I'm surprised. How have you managed your fatigue with that alongside? Because I noticed that even you were training like a bit earlier in prep, like 5 days, 6 days, and then doing cardio on top. I'm just like baffled and like, it's amazing.
You and me both. I don't know. I have this like superpower. Like when I want something, whatever it takes, nothing will stop me. And I said to myself, and I put it on my socials, I refuse to lose my strength. There is no reason why I can't CrossFit do and train and everything. There's no excuse. Obviously, you got to be smart. Food timing, obviously, like sleep management, that sort of stuff, and then listening to your body. So in my off season, I was doing double sessions. Like I was morning 6:30 CrossFit, come home, eat, chill for a bit. Then I'll go and then do my my normal bodybuilding. And then that was my routine. But I knew that there's always a limit. So I would never, ever do more than 3 CrossFit to 4 at most CrossFit classes.
Okay. So there was still a balance.
Absolutely. Because I didn't want to send myself stupid. I didn't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. So I guess you could say they were like HIIT classes, I guess. But yeah, I know how energy demanding and stressful CrossFit is. Bodybuilding was always number one for me. Always the session I would always prioritize. And I'm quite lucky. Like Raw Iron have this app where he publishes the week's worth of
exercises.
So I was smart. Okay, this day is predominantly a leg day. I'm going to train upper body that day.
Okay,
So, and I'm a very organized freak. So every night before I go to bed, I plan the next day. Then I plan my weeks ahead. So I'm already like pre-planning everything about my training. My life works around my training. Like I'm literally for the gains, bodybuilding, And then other things you see me do, I just do it on the side for a bit of fun. And then obviously, CrossFit's a bit of fun, but a bit of exercise, something different, let's stimulate the body a bit different. Like, let's get it out of its routine, wake it up a bit.
No, definitely. Like, I think it is something that for all sake of the argument, it could have actually helped progress your physique.
I 100% think it did. 100%. And I laugh so hard because these are things I used to say to myself, like when it was because CrossFit is a lot of quad stuff, like shoulders, like, really working it. I needed shoulders. I needed shoulders bad. That was my thing. That was my weakness. And even Steph was like, you need shoulders. I'm like, yep, 100%. So that was our goal. Bring big shoulders, and mate, did it pay off? But every time I did anything that would burn my shoulders, like so many repetitions, handstand push-ups, presses, anything in a CrossFit workout, thrusters, I used to say to myself, like, you're growing your shoulders. This is what's happening. You're growing your shoulders. And then I'd finish and I'd literally like, excuse my French, I'd literally say, fuck, if this doesn't help me grow my shoulders for when I start cutting, I don't know what the fuck will. Literally. And then, well, hey, it's paid off. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it's really cool. I think I see that like you explaining it like that has made it more clear to me, because like from an outsider point of view, I'd always just see like, you're training and then I'd see you doing the CrossFitting and I'm like, what's going on? But now that you kind of explained it with that organization of going, like you said, okay, here, well, I'm going to train bodybuilding upper, that balance more organized, it makes a bit more sense. So no, I can see the benefit, like I said, with how that definitely could have increased your physique, and just as long as you, like you said, you're getting the sleep, you're getting your nutrition in, you got that proper balance, like
the
just
protein
fuel to the fire, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then obviously I've had experience, and I mean, I'm no rookie to this game anymore. And I know how important it is with nutrition. And I've had many years of my own science experiment. I've done it. I've tried lots of things in my off season. Timing of carbohydrates, the type of carbohydrates, cutting things out, putting things in. I've tried it all. I need to find out what works for me because I'm not the same person. And then that's why I love bodybuilding so much, because you learn so much about food, the value of food, how it makes your body transform, what works for you doesn't work for the next person. You know what I mean? So it's such a beautiful thing. And that's what I've become so obsessed with, is just finding what works for my body.
Yeah. And how to kind of maximize that to,
absolutely. Yeah.
It does sound like you've kind of hit the nail on the head at this point.
I think it's taken a long time. It's nothing you get next day. You don't go, oh, that's going to work perfectly. It's so much trial and error, so much, even with like my night shifts and training and food and prepping with, and when to eat, when to not eat. How do I do this? Like I tried so many things, and until you do it and see what works for you, you're never going to know.
It's always, I love that reminder of, bodybuilding will always be a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So caught up, especially in social media these days, we get caught up in that instant kind of gratification of, oh, it's a sprint. But it's like, no. It is a marathon.
Olympians aren't 15 years old. They're not 18 years old. They're like in their 30s. They're mature.
30 is your prime. Like as soon as you hit 30, that's like when your prime starts. And
literally,
you go up. And that's kind of like those years.
Literally, like I've been lifting weights for 4 years, but properly personalized programming for 2 years. Like, and it's hard to grow muscle. Like after that first year, like it's hard and it's consistent. You have to be consistent. The second you fall behind, it's like, and I had little setbacks, as we all do, but you just move forward. Yeah, and just trust that what you're doing is working. Absolutely. And it's such, like I said, it's such a beautiful thing when you just trust in your off season, that showing up at 3:30 in the morning to do a shoulder workout when you don't want to do it before a 12, 13, 14 hour shift, you just trust that it's going to work. And then when you strip down and you see, you go, that's why I want to cry. And I feel it. I'm like, everything's always worth it. Yeah.
Yes. You just like, it's that gratitude.
Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful feeling. I love it. And I hope everyone can feel it one day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So to the paramedic, I'm really interested in how that kind of works. I understand, having shift work and that, but do you find, I'm just trying to think the right way to ask what I'm trying to say. Do you think it's an easy type of job in the sense of, outside of the, the wacky hours that you got to kind of meet, but it's not necessarily, so I don't really know, but is it kind of like a taxing job, like outside of, I
know what you mean. Yeah. Because I guess it's not physically demanding. Yeah. It's not. It can be. There have been jobs where it's very physically demanding. We have to get people out of very uncomfortable positions and, doing CPR. And then when you're in deficit and trying to do CPR and stuff, that's very energy demanding and that sort of thing. So it's a mental game. It's mentally draining.
Yeah.
Very mentally draining. I'm there listening to people, listening to their complaints. I have to listen. I have to absorb. Are there little clues? What are the little clues for me to be able to treat and diagnose appropriately for my patient? So what's going to be the best outcome for my patient? You know what I mean? So
how do you do that with, keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just kind of, I would say it's more mentally draining. And especially when you have a big job. There was some time where I was having big job after big job after big job. Like, you're literally mentally fried. Like, you're exhausted, your adrenaline that doesn't necessarily always get used. You feel unwell. Like, And then there'll be jobs that mentally affect you and you didn't think they would. And then suddenly all you can think about is this job. Like, and then you go to sleep thinking about the job, you wake up thinking about that job, and then you're like, okay, I really need to do something about this. And you'll have really weird dreams and stuff like that. And then I'm like, okay, should I go talk to somebody? And then you'll talk to other people, and then you're like, okay, should I see a psychologist? Like, I'm not really sure because I've never experienced this before. So yeah, there's been times like that. But yeah, I've been an AMBO now for 7 years. So I guess you could say I've had my fair share of some jobs and then trying to manage it. But yeah, it's very unexpected. It's very unpredictable. And that's, I think, one thing I love about my job is everything's unpredictable, unexpected. You never know what you're going to get.
Kind of like something new every single day. So
yeah,
you know, as much as like, you know, you have that passion and love for bodybuilding, you know, at the end of the day, it is a monogamous sport. You know, you're always kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So I guess having that, you know, even though it's mentally draining, that breakup of where you're doing different jobs and, you know, you don't know what's going to happen kind of brings a bit of, I'd say, life, I guess, to your every day.
Yeah, totally. And then obviously there's jobs where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to this job. I don't want to go to this job. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go because of what you know what you're going to see. You know what you're going to have to encounter, but you got to go.
How have you managed prep brain? So like, especially I can imagine how difficult that must be, you know, especially in certain life and death situations that you must, you know, come to. How have you, what system have you made, a system or something that kind of helps you balance that, you know, prep brain that you kind of
yeah, I know what you mean. So a lot of coffee. I won't lie, a lot of black coffee. There was actually a prep where I made it my goal to not have as much black coffee because you become so heavily reliant on it, and then you don't have it, and then suddenly you
don't function.
Oh no, not at all. So I definitely say caffeine helps, but having naps. So I've had amazing partners like that you work with. They're literally like your work wife, your work husband, like they're so amazing and so supportive of me and my bodybuilding. Like the community that we have at my work is just so beautiful. And so that's super lovely that we have. We work with a family essentially. If there's a moment that I can go and eat my meal and have a quick 15-20 minute nap, they'll let me do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if we're rammed to hospital waiting for a bed with our patient, and this is how we look after each other and look after our own fatigue management, we'll take turns of having a little break away from the patient. You eat, you go chill, turn off, go sit in the ambulance, do whatever you want, come back half an hour, whatever. And that's sort of how we manage our fatigue. And so that's how I sort of manage my prep brain, I guess you could say, and just having naps. And like, I don't know if you've heard of the actual scientifically proven technique of having an espresso shot right before you're about to have a nap. So so we actually get taught this in the ambulance services of fatigue management. It's actually all over the internet. You can have a look it up. I try and educate everybody that I come across that asks for advice. I try and tell them to do this. Essentially, what happens is you have this shot of coffee right before you have a nap, and you cannot pass that 20-minute mark because you'll go into sort of a deeper sleep, and obviously then you're going to wake up and feel worse. So if you fall asleep and have that 20-minute nap, it actually scientifically proven that the effects of caffeine on the brain receptors reduce fatigue by a certain percentage, and therefore you're more alert as you wake up.
Oh, wow.
It is insane. And
that's
it works
crazy.
Every time. That is my prep hack. It's no longer a hack now. You guys all know it.
Everyone knows.
I do tell everyone, and I use it like to this day. Like even like when I'm not prepping, I'm like, oh, I'm a bit tired. I might quickly make an espresso. I'll have an espresso, have a quick nap, and then wake up. So they've done studies that I think that on the average person, it takes 6 to 8 minutes to fall asleep or to fall into a sleep. So I normally set my alarm for 25 minutes. So it gives me a 5-minute window to fall asleep, have that 20-minute nap. And then by the time I wake up, mate, I'm good as new. And I love it because everyone at work goes, how do you do that? I'm like, mate, it just works. I trust me. And then I'm alert for hours. It's the best ever. So that's
actually really, really cool. I want to give that a go.
Yeah, definitely. It works. Yeah.
That's a cool trick.
Yeah.
So I guess another question I kind of had, but you kind of answered it, I guess. But obviously, you want to be a pro now. But when you first started, were you kind of in that mindset of I'm going to be a pro, I want to be a pro, I'm going to get there? Or was it kind of, well, actually, I'll word it this way. This is a better question. If you become a pro, well, you will become a pro, fingers crossed tomorrow.
Yes.
Will you be kind of making that your like career, your lifestyle?
Absolutely.
Will
Yeah.
you stop the paramedic? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I totally get with your first way that you were questioning. Did I sort of always want to be a pro? Not really. No, I didn't, because I didn't know my potential. I lacked belief in myself. I knew that I wanted to be someone in a bodybuilding world, but I didn't know how far I could go, where it could take me.
Yeah.
And then once I started to see my physique change and how, just the universe just brings you along to people, and, like-minded people come in your way. And then, how everything just sort of falls into place. I'm like, no, it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, and that's it. And I'm going to full send it. And it's a whole nother world, and I'm going to go ahead. So, yes, I want to be a pro, and I want to represent Australia. I want to be that one small person in Australia that got their pro card and can go overseas and just show everyone that is not Australian how Australians do it, because we are top-notch athletes.
Yeah.
We are amazing athletes. And so, and people that are even amateurs, I'm like, first timers, holy, you're a first timer?
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. You should see me as a first timer. I was a cloud. And the conditioning, and like literally it's just so mind-blowing, and so it's so inspiring. And I'm like, I want to show people, I want to show Americans, Brazilians, Spanish people, everybody, I want to show them that Aussies, we can do it, man. So yeah, I want to do it. If I love being a paramedic, but if I could start to steer that away and just do that part-time, and then focus on being an athlete and doing it 200%, even more than I'm doing now, 100%. Love it so
I love
much.
that. No, I love that a lot. I love, because that's kind of half the reason why I started the podcast. I wanted to create something, because we are so segregated from America and Europe, and the IFB Pro League over there. So I wanted to create like a platform where I can kind of hopefully get that exposure for all these Australian athletes, whether amateurs and pros, to let the people overseas go, hey, don't forget about us. We don't, we haven't had a lot of athletes on the Olympia stage, but we're coming. Like, we're here.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're coming. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be your little Aussie gal up on that Olympia stage. Don't you worry. I will.
It's awesome to hear. Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think having this conversation with you and stuff, like, I can really see that you have that mindset. Like, you're locked in. Like, we talk about in the sport, we want to, putting all your eggs in one basket. I think especially it's always good to have other life outside of bodybuilding. You want to still be, financially supported, because, the sport, we invest in the sport, we don't necessarily get invested in while being amateurs and stuff like that. So it's sometimes hard to kind of put all your eggs in that one basket and, really flick that switch and have that mindset. And, as much as I love the sport, it's something that I, struggle with going, what, I'm going to put all my eggs. Like, I've got, like, let's say 80% of eggs, but it's just like, I'm missing that 20%. And it's just like, it's cool to see, I can tell that you all that 100% in, and you want it, and you can see with the change of physique, you can see how passionate you can see that, and that's another reason why, you kind of lead your thoughts, lead, and you manifest what you think. And I think that's why, getting that pro card, without a doubt, if unfortunately it doesn't happen tomorrow, it next year, like it's going to happen. It's just one of those things.
Over for me. Never. Absolutely not. I'm proud of what I've achieved. So proud. Like, I literally, that reel I posted yesterday of me doing cable rows.
Yeah.
I literally watched it and I started crying, because I was like, that's me. Like, that's me. I worked so hard to look like that, and I'm so proud. Whatever happens, I'm freaking proud. And I've been manifesting, believing, and I have for the last 2 years, that it's my time, and I truly believe it. Yeah, I know it is. And I've just been positive and just driven. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully when this will be posted like next week, but fingers crossed. The title will be New Pro Marlette.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be amazing.
So my last question before we kind of wrap things up, let's just say, yep, you do win tomorrow. What are the plans? Like, have you kind of talked to Steph? Have you kind of made a decision for yourself? Are you wanting to take a bit more time off, take a year off, 6 months, kind of, soak it all in, readjust, or you want to kind of jump into a pro show straight away?
Look, we have a lot of things planned.
On the hush.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the hush. But we'll just see what happens tomorrow. I think it all depends.
One day at a time.
Tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how we've taken it. Like, I didn't register for nationals. I hadn't registered for nationals until after Queensland.
Oh, okay.
Normally I'd go ahead and register. No, I didn't. I just said one show at a time. But
I think that's important. I think that's important because it's helping you be in the moment. It's helping you be present. And two, at that point, you're kind of not overreaching, overthinking, you're giving it your all. So, you presented that 100% package at the Queensland show, hence winning the overalls. And then, you take the next day, okay, what do we need to do for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks to, then bring that same energy to the nationals?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad I did it like that. Yeah. It's been amazing. Six months.
Yeah.
But I knew, and I love it. I love this journey. Yeah. I don't know how many times I can tell you how much I love it, but yeah.
That's right. We can tell. It's good. It's good. We need people like that. That's what our pros need to be like. We need to have that energy.
Yeah. Like when I hear people complain, it really gets under my skin. Don't do sport, mate.
No, definitely.
Don't complain to me. You either love it and you're passionate and you're full send, or get out. I can't.
But it's one of those things, like, you have to dedicate. You have to have the dedication. And if you're on the fence, and you're complaining, it's that, like, this is how I see it. Bodybuilding is that sport that you can get so much out of it on a personal level of growth, but because the reward of investment, in reality is so low, being on the fence about it and what it needs you to do, like, there's no point. You like you said, you're either all in or you're, just do it as, enjoy going to the gym, enjoy the sport, enjoy watching it, but, don't compete. Like, as much as that's kind of harsh or blunt, but it's how it should be.
Though. You can still do bodybuilding and not get on stage. You can still do cutting and building phases and not get on stage, and that's fine. But don't make it seem like it's a chore.
Yeah.
It's only a chore if you make it a chore. You go to the gym because you truly enjoy it and you enjoy the feeling and the satisfaction that you get out of it. Don't do it because you just, I'm doing it because I just want to go on stage and I just want to see what happens. I'm like, get out of here.
Get out. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a great chat.
Thank you so much for letting me share my journey and my experience and my knowledge, and it's been awesome. Thank you.
Well, good luck. Final good luck for tomorrow. I'll be watching and I'm cheering you on.
Thank you so much.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Regardless, I'm very, very, very happy.
Awesome. Thank you. See ya. Hey everybody, I'm back with Oz Bodybuilding Podcast and I'm joined by our Queensland State Overall Bikini Classic champ. Oh fuck, I fucked that up. Oh my God.
You should have a little end of the bloopers and that'll be one
of them. Literally, that's perfect. Oh my God, let me start again.
That's okay.
Sorry.